Is this working well? Ugh. Raise this mic. It's a good thing I'm not reviewing this mic arm today. All right, so I don't usually do a lot of reviews on gear and stuff, but I am going to, and I may never do it again. I have this SmallRig flashlight that I purchased as a background GOBO, and I was rather excited about this. In fact, when this first came out, so they were just pumping it on the social media ads on all of my feeds. And I went ahead and bought one. But I don't think I'm going to keep this, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But first of all, I just want to say SmallRig, as a company, I like their stuff. I have a lot of SmallRig stuff. I have cages, I have adapters, and various accessories. By and large, I've always had good experiences with SmallRig as a company. So when they put this out on my social media feed, I was like, all right, cool. I trust this company. They did not send me this. They didn't ask me to review it, and I don't know if they're going to like this review if they had. But the idea of having a really portable GOBO was appealing to me because I do a lot of movement and shoots. Not only that, but I actually have a really small space here in this studio. So the ability to turn, a GOBO onto your background and it not take up a whole light stand. And I use Aperture and Amaran lights, and they have Bowens mounts, and you can definitely go and buy a really nice attachment for GOBOs for those lights. But that's going to run you $200+. And this little thing was around $40-50. So I thought, man, if this could even partially fill that gap, then it's a great value. I'm not a flashlight expert, so if you are, enlighten me. But yeah, I mean, the build quality of it is what you'd expect from SmallRig. They make a lot of metal stuff, and this feels suitably hefty. It has this extension here so you can zoom the lights, which is not uncommon in flashlights. I have some just basic flashlights that do this. Powering this thing on, weirdest power on I've ever had. I just thought maybe you would push the button and hold it and it would power on, but no, you have to turn the knob. You're going to turn the knob halfway and then it'll power on. You can adjust the power, and as you turn it up and it gets brighter, it'll hit a point at which it blinks to let you know that is the maximum brightness. Get used to that blink. It also has a green indicator light here. It has a green indicator light to let you know that it's powered on. So from a distance, if you're in production or whatever and you're wondering if it's still going, you can tell that easily by the indicator light, which I really like. What I really like is that it has threads for tripods all over it, basically. One on each side here. So hypothetically, you could mount it to a tripod, and then you can mount another accessory on top of it if you really wanted to. It has one more threaded mount here at the base of the light. All around perfect in terms of mounting the light. I have hung it from the ceiling. I put it on clips. I put it on stands. All these mounts work like you'd hope that they would, right? And then it has this nice rubber attachment that you just slide over the top, and it can collapse to be shorter, or you can extend it to be longer. Really reminds me of back in the day when we used to have those rubber collapsible lens hoods because we kept losing our stock ones. That's pretty much what this is. And the GOBO slides in a little ridge inside of the rubber. I'm not a huge fan of how this works. I would have much preferred something magnetic. In terms of the selection of GOBOs that come with it, I was fine with the 16 or so average GOBOs they sent with it. And the light overall build quality, the one button works fine. And the fact that you can zoom it is a nice functionality. But, and this is a big, let me say that a different way. And this is an important but. Two things here. One of which is this doesn't have a lot of power. Now, I know that this is small, and so I didn't feel like my expectations were really high, but right now I'm setting probably 2 feet away from a softbox, and that softbox is at like 40% power, and if I turn this on right now, and then I shine this at the background, you can see it, but just barely. And I'm using a camera on f1.8, so the camera is wide open on the lens, and this is max power. Now, I try to use this for a photo shoot where I needed a little faster shutter speed than you would for video. It was very difficult to see this on the black backdrop, even with all of our lights dialed down to like 30% power. And that little flashlight is on 100% power, and it's probably 2 feet from the background. And I think if I turn this front light up anymore, you'd kind of lose that. Yeah. I had to go into Lightroom and post, and I had to pump up the contrast on the background to see the gobos. So right now you'll see it's not bad if you are doing video and you're willing to shoot at a really slow shutter speed. Now, if I change the colors, because this light has colors, to red, blue, and orange, it looks cool. Like right now, that's not bad, but that is, as you can tell, if I move this button and it blinks, that's as bright as it gets. I think that alone maybe wouldn't have been the biggest killer. However, when I did the shoot recently, we mounted this in the ceiling, we turned it on, and we left it going for about 20 minutes as we did photography for the shoot. And this thing gets hot. I mean, I went to change the gobo at one point, and I grabbed the thing and I was like, wow, this is really hot. Like, it feels as if it's overheating. And I didn't like that part. When things start heating up like that, that concerns me. It makes me feel as though this is not meant to be left on for very long, which might be a consideration for you if you're thinking, well, I'll use this in my studio if I'm going to stream or I'm going to film a video like I'm doing right now. But if you do that and you're leaving it on for long periods of time, this thing is going to heat up. Just beware. 100%. If you were to ask me, is this thing useful? I'd say yes. If you can shoot with a low amount of light and a relatively dark setting, and you're not going to be using this for an hour, then yes. I can see uses for this. I can see creators who would enjoy this. And if you have a small space and you have a limited amount of light available to you, you probably will see this on your background. And I can almost find it useful in here. I can almost find it useful. It's not terrible. If you really need a gobo, if you have a Bowens mount or something, I would say go ahead and purchase one, especially if you need that sucker to be, 8 or 10 feet away. I mean, I know this is not an expensive video light. So let me just say that. I know you can pay a lot more for video lights, but I also know you can get a panel LED these days for around the same price, just a little bit more, that puts out a lot more wattage. And I keep looking at this thing and thinking, I can go buy like a straight up good flashlight, not a photo company, but like a good flashlight. If I could just slide this on the front, that would be way brighter than what I'm getting here from the SmallRig. The downside of that would be you couldn't probably attach normal flashlights to a tripod head. Keep it or toss it. This was hard because I wanted the gobo and I like the size of this, but I just don't think the power is gonna cut it. I need the power, just, I don't know, 15 watts, maybe, or 20 watts. But you gotta fix the heat thing. I can't have my lights heating up like that. And when I go over to grab them, I'm not expecting the light to be flaming hot, especially not on the back end or whatever. And this is far away from where the actual light is burning. So that's gotta be the battery in there. That can't be good for it. You might see this in the background of other videos. I'm just going to be honest. If you do, then I'll apologize to SmallRig and be like, well, I ended up using it. But for right now, I don't expect to use it. But feel free to call me out if you see me using it in a future video and just be like, you didn't return that thing. I want to like it. I really want to like it. Have you ever used one of these? What do you use for a gobo? Do you use a gobo? If so, let me know in the comments. And SmallRig, thanks for making good stuff. Keep working on it. Keep working on it. This was close to a home run. It was good, not great.